Hello and welcome to this episode of How Would You Run That? A Dungeons & Dragons podcast and ideas factory with me, Lucas Tomlinson.
And me, Jake Canna.
In this podcast we will be discussing some aspect of Dungeons & Dragons. An encounter, location, trap, puzzle, NPC, PC, god, magic item, or really anything that can exist in the world of Dungeons & Dragons. At the end of each episode, one of us will reveal the topic for the next week to the other and ask, how would you run that? Giving us each a week to research, plan, and prepare how we would run said thing.
Today's episode is on a portable hole. Lucas, how would you run that?
Portable hole.
While you get your notes in order, I'll ask you the bigger question of the week. How been you?
I'm good. Yeah. What's new since last week? Not a lot, still COVID time. But, excitingly, going back to the office on Monday.
Yeah, 8th of March. Kids
That's it.
are released into the streets.
Release the children. Like release the hounds.
Yeah, right.
But otherwise, yeah, I don't know, just pretty good.
Nice.
Nothing really new.
That's okay. Not every week brings interesting stuff. No.
Ooh, you know what is interesting though, what you've told me?
What have I told you?
That you've got some teaspoons.
Yeah, I got our first podcast gift.
Nice. Teaspoon saga continues.
Yeah, this is in response to episode 4, where I had lost all the teaspoons. In episode 5, as you all now know, I found all the teaspoons. I had washed them all up. They were just looking much fewer than they actually were, which was upsetting. But yeah, I received a nice collection of guitar-shaped, sort of like anodized, different colour teaspoons, which is wicked.
Nice. So not even just regular teaspoons, you've got, because you're a guitarist, you've got custom teaspoons.
Yeah, they're very much on brand for me.
That's really cool.
Very excited to use them.
I mean, even now, like watching you on Discord, you've got, I can see 4 guitars hanging on the wall, 2 propped up on the floor. There's more guitars in shot than there is Jake.
That is true, yeah. There are plenty of guitars.
What did your better half think of the new injection of teaspoons?
She just came up and presented them to me because it was her friend who had passed them on to her. And she just came and said, apparently these are a podcast joke. And I had a look and was like, yes, they are. Well, thank you very much.
What do you mean, apparently? That insinuates she's not listening to the podcast as an avid listener.
It does, doesn't it? Yes, it does.
Need to have words.
Mm-hmm. Got to pump up those numbers.
That's it. We need those 3 listens a week, right?
Just before we came on air, then you were about to start telling me a story, and I wanted you to stop because I thought it was interesting and funny. So you were talking about, you said the words, "There's always more horse meat."
Yeah, what were we talking about?
You're talking about
the topic. Whenever
you have a bad time at work, it's never the end of the world, and like by the time next week comes around, you never remember the worst thing from last week.
Yeah, I mean, that's just like general advice. You know, however tough you think work is, it's like you probably can't remember the worst thing the week before or 2 weeks before because there's always something new. And then, yeah, that led me into there's always more horse meat, which for me just feels like a really set phrase by now, but it probably needs some clarification. Yeah, well, yeah. So, do you remember, was it back in 2010, 11? There was the whole horse meat scandal.
Is it that far back?
Well, maybe not. I'll have to Google it. But, like, I remember around that sort of time in while I was a student, I think, there was this massive thing about the horse meat scandal, and it was the worst thing. And it was in all the papers, and, like, people are eating horse meat, they don't even know it. Atrocious. Terrible. It's the worst thing since anti-sliced bread. And I remember being outraged and thinking, yes, this is the worst thing. And I really got up in the in sort of like the media frenzy around this topic.
Yeah, 2013 is when it was. Just
2013. Oh,
2013,
gosh.
Yeah. A little bit more recent than I thought.
But anyway, point being, I thought this is a big deal. This is real. Like, it's global news. Everyone's outraged. It probably wasn't. It was probably just the UK because, most of the countries probably don't care that we eat horses. But I remember afterwards thinking, what was the outcome of that? What happened as a direct result of this, like, incredibly newsworthy thing that was in the paper for at least a couple of months?
Yeah.
Like, do you remember?
No, I would have assumed that somebody passes a law saying publish your meat sources, and everyone did, so we stopped shouting about it. But truth be told, no, I don't remember.
That's it, though. You assume it.
Yeah.
Nobody knows. You would think if this was as big a deal as it was at the time, maybe really common knowledge what happened as a result of horse meat.
Yeah.
But the reason isn't, and this is when I just stop, not stop listening to news, but stop taking it as seriously as what you see in the headlines all the time. It's like, there's always more horse meat. You know, that was the original horse meat. And then a few months later, there was something else that was a big deal in the news. Then there's something else that's a big deal in the news. And like, none of it really matters that much because there's always something else that's a big headline grabbing attention thing.
Yeah, you're right. There's always something to pique the attention. It's always outrage and, peak sensationalist emotion for as long as your little heart can sustain it. And then you're right. Yeah, something else comes along. It's MPs' expenses scandals. It's there's a new pope. There's always something. Yeah,
there's always more horse meat, and that's where it comes from. So when I'm stood on my little soapbox with my tinfoil hat, that's the line I just remind myself now and again before I get too angry.
Fair enough. Let's bring it back around to the core function of this podcast. I had a question for you before, and it was it was a week ago. It was a portable hole. How would you run that? And I'm interested to see what you've done because that's what we do as a podcast.
Okay, so portable hole. Not a magic item I've used, but you mentioned that you've used it before.
Yes.
So I had a think, and I didn't want to just throw it in as a reward for something, or I wanted it to have purpose. I wanted it to be the thing that was part of whatever I'm going to build it into. Like, the portable hole is the thing. That's the key.
Sure.
Without it being like a literal key. The portable hole is gifted to the party by a wizard who sets you on a task. And it doesn't have to be a wizard, it could be a noble, but I've thought wizards.
Cool.
So imagination is a high level. You've got two wizards, pretty friendly guys, they get on, but they've got a friendly rivalry. Both of them live in their respective keeps and have their minions and whatever, and like they're not like bad guys, they're just regular guys who are powerful wizards.
The rival cheesemancers from episode 1.
That's it. So you've got Magician Brie versus Magician Swiss cheese.
Sure.
Anyway, it doesn't matter what they are. They're basically like, they're friendly rivals. And they meet up on a regular basis for a game of good old wizard chess. And they gamble a bit, and it's quite even back and forth, and they chat rubbish about their latest wizarding endeavours and whatever. But here's the drama that's striking that's going to be the sort of impetus for the party's involvement and their action. Wizard A recently lost his MacGuffin in a game of wizard chess to Wizard B.
Alas.
But they've got a regular game, like they meet every 2 to 3 weeks for this wizard chess, which is gentlemanly, and it gives him a chance to win back his MacGuffin. But for whatever reason, Wizard B's not being so hot on the sorting out his calendar, and he doesn't want to meet up, and he's like, avoiding his message spells and stuff.
Avoiding his message. Can you imagine, like, wizard message voicemail?
Wizard Bree, when do you want to play wizard chess? And he's just like, how many words do you get in a message spell? Basically, he's just
25?
like replies for like, he's just filling it with spaces. So he's doing the reply, oh hi, and then leave it blank for ages, and you think, oh, he must have pressed return too quickly. And then like
he went into a tunnel.
It's all spaces. And then at the end of the spell, it's just like, bruh, or something, like something at the end, like just like, so he's like paused between.
Funny. Anyway,
so he's avoiding his messages. He doesn't want to arrange this meetup again. And Wizard A is like, oh, but my MacGuffin, I want, it's just a friendly game. I want it back. Well, I best take things into my own hands. And these are wizards, right? So they're pretty clued up. They're pretty smart guys.
Right.
And they've got defenses, to keep out intruders. They want to pilfer their magical stuff. And they're familiar with the other magic items that exist in the world. And they know a portable hole could be used against them. And as such, Wizard B has built his fortress with 11-foot wide walls. So it's just too big for a standard portable hole to break through that wall. And he thinks that's pretty smart, it's like that extra foot, that's my defense against a portable hole. But Wizard A has invented a new portable hole, or he's had his artificer buddy do it, or whatever, and it's a 12-foot portable hole.
Right.
And that is how the party is going to breach the defences, get into the castle, find the MacGuffin, and make their way back.
I see. So in your setting, a portable hole literally makes a hole. It tunnels through matter, does it? I think that's the core split then from the reason why I thought differently about the use of a hole. Is my version of the handbook says that it can't create a passage.
What? What did I literally just read? I've completely misread that. It can't be used to create open passages. I'm such an idiot.
Well, no, I think you've saved it. This is because you've got this wondrous portable hole that your wizard's made. He's made a double-ended one.
Yeah.
Instead, you've got that's why this wizard's thing is so special. Is because
it lets you through the other side. Okay, so I'm not telling you then how you'd run a portable hole. I'm telling you how you'd run a portable tunnel.
Portable tunnel. Yeah, you've homebrewed this bad boy. Maybe Wizard B misunderstood the portable hole. Was always going on about how I've made my walls 12 feet thick, so a portable hole can't get through. And it's like, that's not how they work, but I've made one anyway to fuck you up.
Okay, so let's say that just as I've misread, also like one of our two wizards also misread this when he was reading about said portable hole because they've never actually seen one. Maybe it's all just posturing. Maybe they're not actually great wizards. They just they're trying to one up each other all the time, and they're illiterate.
They're fantastic evocation wizards, but they are not blessed with magical items. Oh, who knows? I think it could just be exactly as you say, like someone's just misread the book. There's a smudge. Somebody spilt their tea. Yep.
There's cheese stains on the inside of your magical book of magical items. Okay, so that's what we're going to go with. So neither of these wizards have actually ever seen a portable hole, but in some of this sort of like trying to friendly rivalry one-up each other, someone has like claimed something about a portable hole that the other has taken really seriously and built his defences in his place to try and circumvent.
That's funny.
On a sort of separate tangent, at some point in time, one of the other wizard has come into possession of a way of creating one of these items, but they've not read the instructions correctly, and they've made this, I'm going to say, incredibly volatile, because it's a risky thing then to have.
Yeah.
Portable hole / tunnel, and that's why they can't have it after the mission, because it's only going to last for a certain amount of time.
It's unstable. Yeah, it's like a hyperloop or something that just can't exist in a three-dimensional space for very long.
Yeah, and he hasn't got time to refine his design and improve on it because he needs said MacGuffin back sharpish. So, party, you got to go fetch that bad boy.
Like it. Okay.
So, back on track.
Yeah.
So, you've got the outer wall, 11 foot thick, so 12 feet can go through it. You've got the main keep building base, right? Because there are steps going up, say, to the main entrance. Like below that is where the keep is. So, then you can put the hole on the floor and jump down into the vault, effectively.
Mm-hmm.
So the mission is two-part. Get to the wall and through it.
Yeah.
Clear the sort of large courtyard area, which I imagine to be like 100 feet, 120 feet, something like that. Like a few rounds of movement for a party member. And then locate on the floor the right place to drop the hole, into the vault, grab the MacGuffin, get back up and out, and make your escape without alerting any of the guards is the objective.
Right. Cool. To what degree have you thought? Well, it sounds like you've put a lot of thoughts into the other traps and defences and how this should play out then, because what I want to know, I think, is how do they know where to put the hole? How do you run it as a DM so it's not just roll stealth, roll stealth, roll stealth? What could go wrong? Yeah.
Yeah. So these are things I've put thought into. I put no time into reading the item that you asked me to look at correctly. I just put all the effort into how I'd run it. So, these things I've considered.
This is a fantastic little DM's something to put in your toolkit, though. This is going to happen to you at some point. You're going to flick through and you'll plan a session and you'll misread a word and you'll bring something out, and then some player who has read the thing or someone else is just going to go, oh, actually, I've looked that up and that's not how it works. And you've got a couple of options then. You either
double down.
Yeah, you double down, or you cancel the session, go home and cry into your pillow or something. And I think the better way is to try and make a recovery of it without making it sound too contrived. And what we've done here is we've just spun that round into a completely legitimate scenario that hasn't wasted the rest of the prep.
Yeah, I would definitely stick with it. I mean, mainly because once I've read it, I wouldn't go back and read it again unless I was challenged on it by a player. Yeah. But, even then, does anyone play just the rules? It must be so difficult to do everything by the book because there's so much to know about it.
Yeah.
The game.
Yeah, I think times gone by, somebody would... There are people out there now who just know all the rules and know all the things, and that's handy. That's kind of cool, especially when it's so well balanced in many I think there's quite a few places where they've thought about carrying mechanics or swimming or flying and things like that. You think, okay, in the rule set that exists, can my character do this thing? But one of the great appeals of D&D at the moment, especially now it's getting more popular and it's becoming less niche, it's getting a bit more widespread, is the fact that you are not on rails. You can do anything, and it's kind of on the DM to try and find either rules that govern the scenario that your player has generated or come up with something on the fly that doesn't feel unfair and broken. Yeah. So you're completely within your right to make up an item, make up a thing. Yeah, go for it.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, again, that's how I run games. It's got to be fun, rule one, and semi-consistent in the application of whatever I make up at the time.
That's it. That's how I play it. If someone asks me a question, can I do this thing? Because we're blessed in the world of 2021, I will, if I don't know it off the bat, I'll Google it. I'll do it live in front of them. So let's just see if there's a rule for that. And I don't mind, giving that glimpse behind the screen, as it were. And if I can't find anything, I'll think of something and explain to them why I think it's fair.
You're breaking my immersion. Okay, so things to consider then, how I would run this scenario. So I'm going to do it, well, I sort of wanted to do it like a mixture, and I've not done this before, but like when I was thinking about how it would play out, I thought, do it as a mixture of a skill check and an encounter.
Okay.
So it's not one, it's not the other, because I like skill checks, but I like sort of extra level of skill check I put in. You can't use a player can't use the same skill check twice in a row.
Okay.
And a player can't use the same skill as the player directly before them.
Okay.
And I think that works a bit, because what you can end up with is like everyone, like you said, doing a stealth check. Stealth check. You don't want to. You don't want. So this way, at least, it breaks it up a bit. But because of how I pictured the layout of the area, I didn't want it to be just, there's 100 feet between you and the place you want to go. So many skill check passes get you there. I've laid out, I've drawn it out really simply, but basically there's like a big outer wall with towers around it where guards are stationed.
Okay.
And then there's like I've written 140 feet from the point where the party has been told is best to enter, and the place where you want to put the portal on the floor.
Okay, so that doesn't quite divide by 30, so you're going to get an extra little round of movement in there. Nice. Intentionally. Yes.
I thought about it, and I tried to imagine how it would work, and I think, you have all the players roll initiative first, so they're taking it in turns, and then the players can either move, or they can take an action. They can't do both. So an action being probably a skill check of some sort, like I want to stealth ahead, I want to throw her something and distract the guard, whatever. Like they can do one of those two things. As well as this, so like that's on their initiative turns. As well as this, on the initiative turns of the guards, they move along predetermined patrol routes.
Cool.
Which the players know about because there's an informant in the castle, or in the keep, who is feeding Wizard Bree his info. And that's how he knows the best way to, that you divulge to the pipe front. It's like, you want to get there, you want to watch out for this, that, and whatever.
Sure.
It's worth the party's time sometimes not acting or not moving on their turn, like waiting for a guard to pass, because that's going to allow the optimum route to become available.
Okay, yeah.
So we've got patrolling guards, we've got guard towers, and we've got really basic defences. So the guards are all bullywugs.
Oh, cool.
For interest.
Yeah.
So, we didn't have enough frogs last time, so we've got some more frogs this week. So they're the guards, and the whole place is like a horrible swampland. So it's all difficult terrain as well. It's boggy. It's this like
the courtyard.
Yeah, like the whole thing on the outside as well. Like it's all like swampland. This is where the wizard wants to live.
Wow.
So it's great for the bullywugs. They can move around regularly because they got swimming speed. They love swamps. But for the party, they move at half speed as well.
Okay, that's another good thematic reason why they can't move and action in their pseudo initiative turn.
Well, yeah, like if they took their turn and moved and dashed, and whatever else, haste or something, they just get there straight away. One guy drops in, grabs the MacGuffin, and off they'll go. Like I want this to be like slow and like careful. I want to make it feel like a stealth mission in a video game.
Yep, I've got Metal Gear vibes, Splinter Cell vibes.
Yeah, exactly. So like it's worthwhile finding a convenient spot to watch what happens on their initiative turns. It makes sense to get to an advantageous position where you can like scope out the traps, because the bullywugs, they're taking their job very serious, They're patrolling, they're not on the active lookout for someone, but, they're sticking to their task, and, like, they've set up some rudimentary defences, which in my mind are, like, bits of rope from, like, tree to tree with, like, a little bell on them.
Oh, yeah.
So there are some of these dotted around, and those are difficult to get around for the party because it's swampy ground anyway. You can see them, but if you want to, like, try and, like, I don't know, hold your breath underwater and go under it, like, there's a risk you can set it off, say.
Yes.
So it's easier to go around.
Take longer, yeah.
There's some of these strings set around, and there's the patrolling guys, and that's basically it. Then I'd run it like that. So the party starts outside, they've got to make their way to the wall, slap on the portable hole, close it through, make their way to the location. The way that they know where the location is, so all these bullywugs look the same, right?
Yep.
So you don't know who the informant is just by looking at them.
Okay.
So the sort of tell is, while they're patrolling, the bullywug who's the informant is going to say he's going to stand on the spot and whistle a tune.
Right.
But when they get there, the problem is they're all whistling tunes. So the party has to identify the bullywug that's firstly patrolling in an area that could be where the portal is, because they know it's the hole needs to go because it's near the keep on the eastern side of it, say, or whatever.
Yeah.
But then they have to get close, listen in to see if he's whistling the right tune to know where the spot is.
Oh, I like it.
So it's not just going straight there and doing it. It's like you've got to, like, make your way around this area for a bit to try and figure out what's going on. You've got to use your skills to try and in some way benefit you to try and help you find bullywug. Like, I don't know, like you could just do perception each turn or stealth to move around, but, like, how else could you do it? Is there a spell you've got for an Arcana check? Or
oh yeah, I've got some really good ideas. I like it.
What's the thing? Like, this thing, it leaves it open to the party, because I'm always really impressed when we do skill checks, like the range of creative ways the party wants to use their best things they can do.
Yeah. So yeah, what would I do in that situation? You've got your bullywug whistling. Have you got, like, an audio radius for each bullywug? You have to get to a certain distance where you can hear them whistling at all. It's
swampland. There's sort of lots of, like, regular sort of swampy background noise, like Budweiser and whatever else. Like, I'm just imagining, like, the sounds being swallowed up by this area, because there's lots of trees and water-submerged shrubs and stuff that, like, are blocking line of sight and blocking sound. Like a low-lying fog. It's like the sound isn't carrying very well, which is good for you guys stealthing, but it doesn't help you listening in.
That's cool. So, okay, they would have, I assume they have then a whistle radius or something on them. I might try and use my perception to... I've located the bullywug. I'm going to really, like, focus my elf ears on them. So maybe you'd arbitrarily increase the effective radius by 5-10 feet or something, because I want to use my skill to listen if it works. Or what would be quite cool, could you use thaumaturgy on one of them to amplify them temporarily?
That's cool.
Fun stuff
that's
like
a good
that.
Idea.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, that's it. Again, like with a skill check, you're opening it up for ways to be creative. And I think especially because it's, with this scenario, it isn't a classic skill check scenario. I think there's a lot of things to consider and ways that party members could become useful in that situation. I think, that's what I thought anyway.
That's quite fun. What's the peril then? What goes... They cock it up. It goes wrong. They ring a bell. What's at stake?
So, as I said, the sound doesn't carry terribly far, but any bullywugs in the area would be alerted. And there are different levels of alert. And I think I sent you yesterday the video that I was referencing, like when I was thinking about it. It's like... I
know what this was about.
That's what I had in my mind. It's like, must have been my imagination. It's
someone there. Must have been the wind, yeah.
So anyway, Tony Lazudo, anyway, I thought it was so funny, but I watched that and thought I want to do this.
It's like your Skyrim stealth archer, you got arrows sticking out your head, and like, well, that must have been nothing.
Must have been my imagination. So there's different levels of alertness. Bullywug's pretty cool. They've got a passive perception of 10, which I think is like, it's nice to use no modifiers, so that's what you've got to beat if you are stealthing. Like, I'm going to give them a field of vision that's ahead of them for, say, 15 feet. Not going to tell the party that, but that's what it is. Like, there's no mini-map that shows you how far they can see. You can just hide around the edge. If they hear a noise or see something that they think is suspicious, they're on stage 2 then. They're not just passively patrolling. They are searching. And that's when I start rolling perception to see, like, they'll maybe turn to the area they came from, have a look, and they'll do a perception check, and then it's contested. Like, it might be against their stealth. After that, then they are... at the next level, which would be searching. They're certain they've heard something, but, like, it doesn't mean they've still found you. And in that sense, they'll then start pursuing you more actively. And as soon as they see you, then they'll do the ribbit.
Right.
That does carry. That alerts the rest of them.
Okay. At which point, you've got many bullywugs to fight.
Yeah, it's not going to be like a big fight because they're not tough, but you've been told specifically by Wizard Bree not to harm any of the bullywugs because one of them's the informant. You know, and also, it's only a friendly rivalry. You don't have to, come to blows.
Yeah.
Like,
you killed all of them? What?
I knew those guys. Bullywugs are pretty crap in combat. Like, I don't want it to be a big fight.
Yeah.
There are friendly enough reasons that this shouldn't come to blows.
So the peril is not so much for your party, the peril is for the wizard's friendship with the other wizard, and that's what they're there to not ruin.
Yeah, absolutely. This is a stealth mission. If you get found out, then, Wizard is going to deny it, and maybe Wizard B, not Bree, then is not very happy, and maybe I don't know, would he come into combat?
It might just be that he's kick-ass and just puts them in force cages from his wizard's tower, and just insta-prison. Now you've got a Prison Break episode next time. That's
funny. You could definitely do that. And then you could do the same thing again, but with like a different location with patrolling bullywugs in the basement. And on their way out, they've got to just like pop in. But no, I think then if they say that, say there's a powerful wizard and they are captured, and he's got them like in forced restraints. Basically, then he messages Wizard A. It's like, hey, I found your guys. So you get captured. Wizard puts you in forced restraints. Other wizard has to come. Basically pay your fee, and then you're indebted to the wizard. Like, he pays your, wizard bail, and, then you have to go and do some other thing for him to make up for your failure here.
I dig it. Okay.
That'll work.
So that is the peril of the session. What happens when they find the informant, or where are you going from here? What's next in the explanation? Yeah,
so the party spends their time sort of moving around the swampland, avoiding detection. Again, the bullywugs are following set paths, so if you study it, you should notice where to go when.
Yeah.
During these paths, they have places where they stop, listening on for the right jingle of whistle, and then that's the location you need to go. But you've got to do it before the other bullywug walks this same path, say.
Yeah.
So you've got to get to the spot, drop your portable hole, dive into the vault, and I imagine the vault being like, there is the MacGuffin on the pedestal in the middle, like you imagine.
Yeah, classic.
There's also other stuff in there that the party might want to steal.
Yeah.
But the instruction is, don't touch anything. And what I want to do is I want to pop a few cursed items in there, like really low-level rubbish ones.
So they're supposed to, Mission Impossible their way in?
Well, it's only like a 15-foot drop, say. So they might take a bit of fall damage, but if they've got a rope, they can let themselves down.
They can touch the floor. It's not like it's Scrooge McDuck levels of full vault, right?
No, there's no magical anything in there.
Right.
It's not expected that someone would be able to do that because again, the floor is 11 feet thick before the ceiling starts.
Genius.
Yes, that'll deter those regular.
Imagine how annoyed you'd be if you came along with a regular portable hole. You're like, oh, not only am I just stuck at the bottom of my hole, but it's also, I can feel 1 foot thicker.
Yeah, you're like knocking, ding, ding, ding. Definitely sounds 1 feet thick. But yes, that's the plan. You jump in, you've got the MacGuffin, which you can grab and get out of there, or you can spend some time trying to steal other stuff. But if you do, you run the risk of it being something terrible.
Amazing. Love terrible stuff.
I'm thinking things like the rusty spoon.
Okay, and for our listeners?
Yeah, so the rusty spoon is a magical item. It is a silver spoon with rust on it. So it's not silver, but it's silver coloured. And once you pick up the spoon, you are in possession of the spoon. We should have talked about this actually when we were talking about teaspoons. Basically, you're in possession of this spoon indefinitely. You cannot relinquish possession of this spoon. You can put it in your pocket, but then when you're in a fight wielding your regular weapon, your greatsword, whatever, there's a chance that as you go to strike, your weapon's replaced by the spoon once again. That's you pull it behind your head, swing, and as you do, you bring it before your face. It's a spoon again. You can always imagine it in slow motion as they sort of look confused at the spoons that passes their body.
I assume the spoon automatically misses.
Yeah. Yeah, that'd be the easiest thing to do. It's you're not going to do 1d4 damage with a spoon, are you?
It just becomes an unarmed strike at that point if you still hit. What a horrible item. That is truly treacherous.
Yeah, so don't go stealing from the wizard when you've been told not to.
The thing is, if you jump into the vault of magical goodies and you see on the floor a spoon, is that the thing you're going to take?
Well, I'd probably describe it as like there's a set of fine cutlery, which looks to have some value to it, and if they want to appraise it on the fly, I don't know, it's like 50 gold. Like, there's not like a pile of gold, but there is this, there's a fine box with a set of spoons in it. But if someone takes the whole thing, then they're in possession of the spoon.
Funny.
So that's what I'm thinking. And then once they've got the MacGuffin, they need to do the same thing getting out of there. So avoid detection, get to the wall, slap on your portable hole, acme your way through there, and then you're off.
Why does the whole party have to go? Or could this be a session that you run when you've got some people missing? You
could absolutely do it with fewer. If it's 2 or 3, it still works. Because you've not got a massive combat problem, because bullywugs are pretty low key. At what?
Yeah.
1/4 challenge rating. Not really a lot.
Not too much trouble. And you can just reduce the number of them if you want to keep the turn order fluid.
Yeah, I mean, I guess I'd probably have all of them act on 1 turn order. It's like...
Okay.
Or would I? I guess that means that because the paths they're patrolling are large enough that one initiative turn isn't a full rotation.
Sure, so it's like sliding puzzle per turn.
Yeah, exactly. But I'd probably have it that the vast majority of places are taken up, so the party could just stay in one place for indefinitely, unless they find a really out of the way spot. So they'd probably have to move, and once they know where to be at what times, they can move to the Heart's Content, or they can try and cause some sort of distraction somewhere else to make one of the paths delayed or whatever.
Okay. So what is like a regular one Bullywug's path might be like 4 turns, 4 rounds would take them on the full loop or something like that.
Yeah, I mean if it's 140 feet from the wall to the keep to the spot, and you've got this all around the keep, so it's quite a large yard area outside. Yeah, I mean I think so. I mean you don't have to have hundreds of them, but if you had 7 or 8 dotted around on rotation, and then one in each watchtower as well, that's looking over an area or turning 90 degrees every initiative count. Yeah,
that's cool. Question then about the whistling, because we are currently playing all our games online, but this would also work in a tabletop version of the session. Would you give them real audio cues? Would you give them real whistles to listen to? Or would you just say, you recognise the sound on a... Don't make a history memory check, but you know what I mean? You're like, oh yeah, that's the whistle he told you about.
So you could easily just say, it's not the whistle, it's a different melody. That'd work. I don't think you have to have the whistle. But I think what I'd probably try and do is record some, little audio clips of different whistles and then play them.
Yes.
So, say you've got, 5 whistles, and, this is what you hear. And then I'm waiting for them to remember the right one.
Was it La Cucaracha, or was it the
well, that's
Jingle
so
Bells?
You do really, really obvious, memorable songs, not random note orders. And, just see how well they remember it, and if they're going to, challenge each other on it. I think you could do them completely different, and that'd be really easy, like La Cucaracha or whatever. But it's whenever I think of the Wallace and Gromit theme tune, I get that in my head, and I can't remember what the Great Escape sounds like.
Neither can I now. What have you done to me?
I mean, this is the kind of thing I'm thinking about when I'm sat on a plane and want time to go fast. It's what does the Great Escape sound like? I know it's like Wallace and Gromit, but Wallace and Gromit is like this, and I'll do that to myself.
Yeah.
I'm great at passing time.
Yeah, right. For me, that would be a must. I would definitely love an audio cue. That's that's my jam.
So would you go for something similar, or would you go for something different?
I would personally go for something similar unless I was playing with children.
Fair enough. But yeah, I think I'd probably go for that. So I'm trying to think now. Wallace and Gromit is... Yeah, okay, and Great Escape is... Oh,
well done, yes.
Oh, that was pretty easy. Oh, so yeah, you could do...
I had another one in my head. What did I have in my head?
There's a third. When you get down this trail of thought, it's hard to think of what they are, though.
Yeah, and then Dam Busters is similar.
What's Dam Busters? Yeah. You could entirely just have these, then they're all the same sort of group of songs. Yeah. It's just actually whistling, could just be humming. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, easy peasy.
You just got these various little wartime jingles.
Such chipper little bullywugs. Yeah. That's it. The bullywug. This is it. The bullywugs are all like old school British names as well. Like they're all named. They got little name tags.
Get the names off Hogs of War.
That's exactly what I was thinking. You got Basil. You've got. I mean, Basil stands out. I can't remember the others now.
There was a Jones. There's Ponsonby.
Oh, Ponsonby. That's the one. Yeah.
Ready, willing, and able, sir.
That's it. That game, like I've seen like Reddit posts about remakes and stuff for Hogs of War, but it's never going to happen because of like how stereotypical the voices were. I'm saying stereotypical in like a really...
Yeah, some of what they said was not okay. But Rick Mayall did all the voiceovers for the multiplayer mode.
Yeah, he did.
And that's a good enough reason to find anything. Is it on Steam? So a quick look.
Must be, surely.
So this, if anyone doesn't know, Hogs of War was a PlayStation 1 game, and it was sort of in the realms of, it was a bit like Worms. It was a 3D team-based, turn-based team shooter sort of thing. And you're there on fairly rudimentary 3D maps.
Yeah.
And you choose a nation and you go through the campaign killing all the other pigs, but there's full of pig-based puns and humour, and it's all got that jolly good attitude to it.
It was sort of like a fantasy pig-based World War II setting.
Yeah. You're trying to conquer Australasia.
The Isle of Swill.
Yeah. The whole thing was absolutely fantastic.
Yeah.
But if you have a PlayStation 1, or if you happen to emulate your PlayStation 1 and still have backups of your original games, Hogs of War, get on it.
That's good fun.
They were doing a board game remake of that, I think.
Oh, really? Oh, that's really cool.
Yeah. I don't know how it would work.
Well, turn-based, you'd have different... I don't know, you could do it card-based and have different weapons being different cards, and like, so you run out of ammo for something as you spend them.
Yeah, I suppose you could.
I don't know.
I feel like all of its charm was basically in the voice acting.
Yeah. Do you need to be like one of those classic games from like the late 80s, early 90s where you've got like a button in the middle that plays audio tunes as you do stuff?
Hogs of War is on Steam for $3.99.
$3.99. Is it multiplayer?
3 of your Great British Pounds. It's got mixed reviews. Goodness knows why. Oh, please note the game does not work on Windows 8 or 10.
Ah, that'll be why.
Balls.
That's a shame.
Well, you can watch the videos anyway. They're all absolutely stunning. I think all the videos were filmed from the British perspective. This game was, what was it, Infogrames? So that was the guys, they were Sheffield, weren't they? Infogrames?
I think, yeah, this game came out of Sheffield. You know, Team 17's still in Sheffield.
Yeah.
Yeah, I follow them on LinkedIn now. That's cool.
Anyway, that's a real distraction, but...
So we've got the
for
British
whatever reason,
bullywugs.
That Hogs of War is what I had in mind, because they're your bullywugs.
Yep, the informant is Ponsonby. That's who it is. Yeah. Okay, so that's the session basically. That's what they're doing. They're using this portal to grab the MacGuffin, get out of there, and Wizard Bree will be happy with you and offer you something in reward.
Sure. Have you decided what the MacGuffin is, or is that just irrelevant?
No, I thought we'd probably think of something on the fly here. Because it doesn't matter what it is. It could be like a really shiny rock, like it has some. It's like it doesn't have to be magical. It just needs to be a thing that the wizard wants.
I think it should be something that your party wouldn't necessarily want to steal. So I'm thinking like the magical equivalent of a George Foreman grill or something. It's like, I just want my sandwich maker back, for God's sake.
Sandwich maker, fancy sandwich maker. What's a fancy sandwich maker equivalent? Some sort of utensil.
It's some sort of like a hinged iron.
I'm thinking. Yeah, I'm also imagining something hinged. I'm thinking like a particular set of bellows.
Okay, yeah.
Like these are the best bellows. I forged some of my most wonderful stuff with them.
And this is the thing. It's not that they are particularly magical, but I've got it. It's like a bellows. It's 2 metal plates with a specially designed and weathered griddle pattern cut into it. All the wizard does is clamp a sandwich in there and cast heat metal on both sides, and it does the job. But because he's had it for so long, like the metal
oils
is imbued with all the oils of the cheese of the last 50 years, and so now it just imparts this beautiful odour and just a beautiful crispness to every sandwich, and he just wants his griddle back.
Oh, and imagine what Wizard B is doing with it. He's getting his greasy hands all over it. He puts
chicken in his sandwiches and it gets the wrong oil on there.
I mean, I'm not going to name names, but I knew someone when I was at university who made cheese toasties with, like, anything. Like, they make a cheese toasty, regular cheese toasty, and put, like, loads of M&Ms in it and stuff.
Oh, what?
Yeah, right.
Ugh. I think you should name names.
I'm not going to name names. They were I've not spoken to this person in years. They're very happy with me.
They know who they are, and when they listen to this podcast, they will feel the shame of 1,000 suns.
I'm looking forward to that WhatsApp message.
M&Ms.
Yeah. To be fair, I don't know if they use cheese, but like bread and I guess it's like a hot chocolate sandwich. If that a thing? I'm screwing up my face to describe it. I don't think it's a thing.
It doesn't feel like it should be a thing, but you know, each to their own. Have your dreadful sandwiches and get out of my life.
Yeah. But anyway, this is the sort of thing that Wizard Bree is worried that Wizard B is doing with his beloved griddle.
Sandwich iron of dreams.
Sandwich iron, that's a better name, yes. You must retrieve the sandwich iron. Yeah, I can see it already. I guess what I haven't thought about is why has Wizard B stopped messaging Wizard Bree?
Because these sandwiches just die for.
Yeah, I guess it's as easy as that. Like, he's got the griddle and he doesn't want to, you know, give him the opportunity to win it back because they're pretty evenly matched, you know?
And Wizard B is ashamed that he actually cheated in that game and he had a second queen up his massive wizard sleeve.
A second fantasy queen?
Yeah.
Naughty. Okay, that works, yeah. So, does Wizard Bree suspect foul play and that's why he's taking matters into his own hand?
Wizard Bree didn't have access to Wizard's Chess VAR, so doesn't know for sure.
Oh, Wizard's Chess VAR just ruining the game.
But there's that sneaking suspicion that I could have sworn I took his queen in the first round.
So he's a musty old wizard, so he hasn't got the best memory, so
yeah,
that makes sense. I like that.
Plus, that's a reason for it to be like, don't just get my thing, because if you lost it fair and square, fair enough, you might want your thing back, and it's annoying that they're not returning your calls. But maybe that's just like a little tickle at the back of his noggin. It's like, something's not right, not returning my message spells.
The more and more I think about it...
Oh, don't you know, it's just like him. He was wearing that special robe. The one covered in wizard queens.
Yeah, that's it. It's like, what's that magic item? It's got like loads of images of stuff on it, and you can pull the images off and they become real things. It's like a cloak, not a cloak of many things. It's not a cloak of many fashions. That's different colour changing, but like something like that, isn't it?
Yeah, there is a thing, and I can't remember it for the life of me either.
Doesn't matter. It's not important.
But yeah, that idea. Yeah, it's just covered in decorations, and
as he leans over, his sleeve drags across the board slightly and just drops off into the queen.
Yeah,
sneaky bastard.
But that's Wizard's Chess. They got transmog. It could be anything.
Okay. Anything else you want to know about this application of a portable hole?
So, let me recap in my mind. You've got Wizard Bree wants his thing back for reasons. Wizard Bree has accidentally invented a portable tunnel that's 12 foot deep or 12 foot long in response to Wizard B saying that his wizard's tower was impenetrable due to having 11 foot thick walls. Funny. You've gone in, you know where you've got to go because there is a bullywug informant whistling a Jolly World War II tune at the right spot. And I'm assuming that the spot where they linger and whistle is the spot where you must plant the
exactly.
hole.
So, like, basically, when you get close, you can hear whether they're whistling or not, and they all are.
Yeah.
But it's like basically when they stop still and they're whistling, that's the because it's initiative turns, right? So they're stood still at the end of their turn. So that's why it's always a spot rather than walking over something.
You know what I'd like to do if I was running this, depending on the group I'm playing with. I wouldn't give away that they would all be whistling. Like the Wizard Bree doesn't know this. Wizard Bree feels informed to say, I will just be whistling The Great Escape.
Oh, that's what I meant.
But even just he wouldn't say, I'm whistling this tune. He's like, I'll be the one that's whistling. But the only way to put that in your party's mind is maybe just have that as the background music when they're in the wizard's place. Like, you just have the Great Escape theme playing, and when they get there, it's like, hang on, they're all whistling. What song was it?
That's better. I like that a lot.
Because that way you've got like a story. There's a very meta reason to know the song that's the right one. Okay, so if you were to do that, what happens if they put the hole in the wrong place? Because look through and see that that's not the vault they're looking for. Yeah.
Yeah, so like, it's not there. Why is it not there? The guy was whistling. And then they start questioning themselves.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, that works. You should absolutely do it that way. No, that's not right. But okay, so what if they don't remember though, having heard that? Like, what if they have the classic sort of they're all the same song in their head thing, and they can't remember, they can't differentiate? Do they then just have to go up to each bullywug in turn?
They could try and brute force it. They're just increasing their chances of getting discovered, but at some point it will stop being fun. I think once you've done one entire lap of the place and it hasn't worked out, what's your way out? Your absolute like nuclear option way out is you just tell your highest wisdom character, this sounds like a song you heard in the wizard's place. That's always your fallback clue. Like, I could just tell you, oh, hang on, you recognise this familiar.
I'm just thinking as well. So we talked about, like, if they move on initiative turn and they're whistling, you'd have to beforehand tell them roughly an area of the map where they would stop, like where it would be. So, like, you know, which, like, it's literally just east of the main keep building, say. Otherwise, they've got, like, the whole map to follow all these bullywugs around on. So if they're in that area already, watching the various ones walk through at different times, stopping in different spots, there's only, like, a maximum of 5 locations it could be in.
Sure. I guess what you could do is underneath your main map, you could have in mind the vault is, if you've got a 140-foot square thing, say the vault is 40 by 40 or 60 by 60 or something, so that it doesn't matter exactly where in the vault they drop. There's a chance that if they're in the right quadrant, they'll drop in. Okay,
so what I'll say then is if they're on the wrong hole because of the wrong song, they've tried to, that's where it's too thick. It's not thin enough there for the portable hole to break through.
Yeah.
That works.
So yeah, they will still be able to brute force it. They could go every single square and try it, and that would be tiresome, but I don't think that would happen.
Depends how impatient they are waiting for the bullywug to come back round on their walk.
Yeah.
Like, they could spend an action waiting, or they could spend an action trying a different square.
That's it. I think you'll spot that one coming if you did run this, because your players would find the first bullywug whistling, think they've nailed it first try, and they would hook into the fact that it must be this one because they were whistling. I think then you'd have to give them a DM clue that, yes, they're whistling, but hark, what's that in the distance? Is that the sound of another whistle?
Well, that's it. Maybe not the ground level ones you notice, but like, say, one in a watchtower, you know, a bit elevated. You can sort of like make them out because there's a torch on the tower. It's like, if you like really concentrate, you see he's whistling too. And then the next watchtower, a bit further on, he's whistling too. Like, you sort of realise there's a lot of whistling going on in this area.
Yeah, not just the swamp noises. As you really focus in, you realise, hang on, there is a lilt. It's raspy, but the unmistakable tones of all along the watchtower come floating across the fog.
So, a cacophony of different World War II style songs.
There's one up there that's just doing like jazz, and that's weird.
Yeah, no one really talks to Terry.
Jazz,
we let him join in because, you know, it makes a mean stew, but we always send him to patrol the other side of the keep. Shabbity boop bop bop dee.
Shut up, Terry. We're all whistling Chicken Run over here.
It's all good. He's there clicking.
These big fluffy fingers.
Big fluffy fingers. Oh, terrible.
That's brought it full circle nicely. We're back to clicking.
Yeah, that was my plan all along.
Nice.
Terry the clicking bullywug.
The most memorable of the bullywugs, but not the one you need to find.
Yeah.
That's too obvious for an informant. Everyone's like, there's a leak, there's an informant. Everyone's like, it's clearly Terry.
It's it. Imagine afterwards when he finds out he's been robbed, you know, and they've been done over, and other wizard like messages saying, "Oh, I found the what's it called that I thought I'd misplaced. It was here and there." It's like, God damn it, Terry! I knew you'd like betray me.
Terry, this is the first time I put you on like main courtyard patrol, and you've absolutely stuffed it.
This is why no one likes you, Terry.
Get back into the swamp and find me something to eat.
He does make a mean stew, though. Just like, because he's walking off, like, he does make a mean stew. Yeah. Cool. Anything else you want to know?
I think that's answered all my questions. Is there anything else that you've prepared that you want to drop?
No. I think that is a stealth mission with a portable hole that uses homebrew rules that aren't in the book. Which is what I planned. intentionally.
Nice. Good save. That's really cool. I like it.
Nice.
I think the way that you've planned a stealth mission, still using the mechanics of turn order, like we said before, it gives everyone an opportunity to act sort of in order. And because they are planning this mission, you might choose to give your party the opportunity to choose their order rather than have them just roll pure initiative. Because it's not like they're reacting to something. Maybe your bullywugs all move on turn number X.
Yeah.
You can say, right, the rogues, I want to go first, I want to do this. Like, fine, you are top of the tree. We'll give you initiative 20, so you can still track it in a regular initiative tracker if you use one.
Yeah, I like that. That's a really good idea. I hadn't thought about giving them the option.
So they've still got that sort of stealth mechanic motivation. So I'm going to go ahead and look for clues. You can stay back here and look for trouble.
Yeah. Use your knowledge arcana to see if there are any magical traps, which a good check says there's not. Great, let's move on.
That's cool. Yeah. But it's nice that, again, the peril isn't combat. We had this in one of the other podcasts where like the goal of the session is not to necessarily fight something. It's to use your character sheet in a different way. And even with the whistling, you'd be challenging the player more than the character, which is always good. With a good puzzle challenges the player, doesn't it?
I worry about having the peril being combat because I feel like, and it's maybe a little bit my party at the moment, and I'm trying to find the right balance, but they don't see combat as challenging.
Yeah, they win.
They've beaten absolutely everything. Like, they're kick-ass, and they're pretty strong, and that's great. I love that. I want to empower them to sort of enjoy combat in D&D, but I don't want to be reckless. So, yeah, having other motivations not to draw their sword instantly is good for me. So that's why I probably thought along these lines.
I think you're quite right.
If it came to blows and they've got to fight off 10 bullywugs, like, what level do you have to be before that's just a walk in the park anyway? Like, they turn into minions in no time.
Exactly, yeah. I think that's why this also works as quite a nice session if you just had one or two players, or you think you might have to cancel a session, but you...
Yeah, definitely.
Think, actually, this is a good one in the back pocket for a few players. For that same reason, yeah, okay, so if it came to blows and it was a fight, it might be a bit more of a challenge that, just in terms of action economy, 10 bullywugs getting 10 slaps against 2 players would be quite significant, so there's a real reason to not do that.
Yeah, but I'm thinking as well, like, if for whatever reason you were discovered by one of the bullywugs and you thought, I have to take him out before he alerts the others, you could do that, but I want you to feel a little bit bad about doing it.
You pull out your silenced pistol and think, well, stealth is off the table.
I'm just thinking, like, the ranger just, like, absolutely, because a ranger's got, like, what range? Ridiculous. They've probably got the scope of the whole place. Exactly. They've got the scope of the whole place. Like, anyone's in trouble, ranger's like, funk. He's down, like, silent.
What's the average HP for a bullywug?
The bullywug has 11 hit points.
Okay, so it's quite conceivable. Not 100%, but fairly conceivable, like a level 6 ranger might just be able to one-shot them.
But again, it's not about going in and killing all the guards quietly, and, it's about making your way past them so that you don't get Ponsonby by mistake.
Exactly, yeah. Yeah, no, you're quite right. That shouldn't be the main option, but it's nice to... It's a thing that might happen, isn't it? If you think you've alerted a guard, you've alerted a bullywug into level 2, into searching, and you're all backed up in a corner, and you know they're just going to approach you next turn, your ranger could just be like, welp, doing.
Yeah. I mean, you can... I mean, how does it work with ranged? No, it's melee attacks. You can decide if it's non-lethal, can't you? But not ranged attacks. Yeah, so maybe, the barbarian just has to bonk him on the head quickly before it's his turn. Yeah. But I guess as the body hits the floor, there's a, I don't know, random percentile dice, whether that is going to be whether it's going to be loud enough to attract any attention of anyone else. And then they go from, their passive perception to level 1. Huh? What was that?
There's someone there.
Must have been my imagination.
Fortescue thrashed his arms and legs and fumbled for his longsword. Submerged as he was, with 2 thick muscular arms holding him down, the weight of the thick swampy water in his clothes and beard were working against him. He was running out of time, and breath, and his struggles were only exacerbating the problem. His lungs burned, his muscles were cramping. Thinking fast, he drew a dagger from his boot and struck out, striking deep into the leg of his handler, who released him. Shh, whispered Vestel. Her robes were sodden, her hair sporting a bushel of reeds and twigs as camouflage. She turned away from Fortescue and pulled apart a bunch of reeds, again to peer out into the fog. Huh? It must have been my imagination. After a few seconds, a low whistling tune started, and the sound of squelching footsteps trailed off into the distance. He's gone. Not the right one, either. The swordsman, now only half submerged and having caught his breath, turned to Crunk. The half-orc had a pained expression on his face, and thick tears rolled from his eyes and down his cheeks before dripping and splashing into the swampy water. The pair locked eyes, silently. We're clear, confirmed Vestel. Crunk reached under the water and pulled the dagger from his thigh. The murky water around him ran red with blood. Ugh, he sighed. You'll regret stabbing me, fancy boy. This better not get infected with swamp muck. Now see here, you were drowning me. You were whistling again. You're gonna give us away. I most certainly was not. You were. Shh. Here comes another one. Ah, and I see snips behind them. This must be the one, whispered Vestel. We'll have words later, Fork and Stew.
All right, that feels like a bit of a natural end. So, what are we doing next week?
So, yes, for next week, Jake, I want to know an underwater session. How would you run that?
Okay.
Start to finish, under the sea.
Under the sea. It's like every video game, the underwater level.
That's
You
it.
have to have one. Yeah, let's do it. Let's have a little think. Thanks again for joining us for another episode of our D&D podcast, How Would You Run That? Please give a like or subscribe wherever it is you get your podcasts. In particular, it'd be great if you could leave us some comments on iTunes and voice notes on the Anchor platform, anchor.fm. Spread the word, and we'll speak to you again next week.
Thanks everyone, catch you later.